Thank you, Chairman. General Mattis, in your 44 years of service, you've built a distinguished resume and demonstrated an unwavering commitment to this country. Having said that, we need to weigh your qualifications today against the need to change an important law that seeks to preserve the ultimate civilian control of the military. But in doing so, I believe we also need to consider another factor, which is the temperament of the incoming White House team. Something you said earlier struck me. It was crises and wars start by miscalculation. I want to go back and remind folks about something that could have happened a number of years ago. During the Cuban Missile Crisis, Air Force General Curtis LeMay and other military commanders urged President Kennedy to launch a preemptive raid on Cuba. Many people believe that would have provoked a Soviet nuclear response. In the end, we averted a nuclear exchange and were fortunate enough to have individuals in the White House who showed a great deal of both restraint and calm during a very intense crisis. We hope it's not so, but the next administration could well encounter a similar situation. Granted, every situation is unique. What assurances can you provide that, if confirmed, you'll approach a time of crisis with the same temperament that you've shown us today? And I would point out that isn't always consistent with your nickname, and provide sound policy and guidance to the President-elect, particularly as it relates to something as serious as the use of nuclear weapons.
Senator, first, I assure you that that nickname was given me by the press, and some of you may have experienced similar occasions with the press where perhaps they didn't get it quite right.
Touché.
I would just say, Senator, that what you must always have is have a team of people together who, it may not be a pretty process, but you look at all options. You don't default to one, and I want to point out default particularly to the military one prematurely, that you have your diplomats, you have everyone in the room as we look for every possible solution. And in that regard, what the military can do by being strong is you provide the strongest deterrent, and thus you provide the strongest support for our diplomats to try to find a non-military option. It's the peace through strength idea. It goes back all the way to George Washington. So that's my overarching approach, sir, if that addresses your question.
It does. And in a related question, I'm fortunate enough to represent the men and women who work at our national labs, people who work every day to ensure that our nuclear weapons are safe, secure, and reliable. How important do you believe that deterrent is in terms of priority within your mission set? And will you continue to support the civilian control, both in authority and administration, of that deterrent?
I consider the deterrent to be critical, Senator, because we don't ever want those weapons used. And so either the deterrent is safe, it's secure, it is compelling, or we actually open the door for something worse, whether it be an accident, technical accident, or a political accident. So to me, it's of absolute priority.
And the issue of civilian control?
No reservations, sir.
You testified before this committee back in January 2015. You probably remember that. And you suggested that if you were in our shoes at the time, one of the things you would ask the Obama administration is the following questions. What are the key threats to our vital interests, and in what priority level? Now, as the potential Secretary of Defense in a new administration, how would you answer that question?
Sir, I would consider the principal threats to start with Russia, and it would certainly include any nations that are looking to intimidate nations around their periphery, regional nations nearby them, whether it be with weapons of mass destruction or I would call it unusual, unorthodox means of intimidating them, that sort of thing. And at the same time, as the chairman's pointed out, we face now an era where we're going to be fighting the terrorist threat. I mean, that's simply a reality. We're going to have to address that one.
Thank you for the candidness of your answers. I think I'm out of time. Appreciate it.